Good afternoon. My name is Stephen Creech, and I play football here at Catawba. And today I'll be discussing the history of football and the rules. Football is the most watched sport in America, but how many people actually know the rules and where it all came from? If you're like me, you watch football every chance you get. Even if you're not like me, you've probably seen a football game at some point just because you've been hanging out with friends or see it on television at a restaurant. While the rules are complex, this is going to be a crash course of what you need to know to help the game make more sense. I'm going to give you an overview from the start of football to the basic rules to the money that can be made playing football. Football was invented in 1860s by a man of the name of Walter Camp. He's known as the father of football. Walter Camp introduced downs, which is where you have a certain number of plays to get 10 yards in order to maintain possession of the ball, as opposed to a scrummage where the official just throws the ball down and both teams fight and whoever comes up with it gets it. Let's see. The first football game was played in 1869 between Rutgers and Princeton. It was more of a mix between rugby and soccer than it is to what we know as football today. Football was a pretty popular sport, and it grew pretty quickly because it was interesting to watch with high pace and physicality, and the NFL was introduced in 1920. The rules of football have changed drastically since the first game. The rules of football are that you start with an opening kickoff, and the team that receives the ball then places 11 players on the field on offense, while the opposing team will have 11 players on defense. And the goal is for the offensive team to get the ball into the other team's end zone, which is a 10-yard zone at the end of the field, which is 100 yards long in itself. And when the first games were played, touchdowns and field goals were both worth 4 points apiece. Today, they have changed that and made field goals worth 3 points while touchdowns are worth 6. And after you score a touchdown, you now have the opportunity to kick an extra point, which is just a short field goal, or you can go for 2-point conversion, which is where you run another play and try to get into the end zone again on this one play. In today's game, there's a lot of passing the football, whereas when the first game, it was just straight running the ball. There was no such thing as the forward pass even. All they did was line up 11 on 11 and run into each other, and the one person carried the ball and the defense just tried to tackle them before they could get their yardage. Finally, money is a major part of professional sports today. According to the Pro Football Hall of Fame, the average salary of an NFL player today is $2.1 million. However, the first player to ever be paid was William Heffelfinger, and he played in a football game on November 12th of 1892, and he was paid $500 openly to play in that football game. It was originally a club game in Pittsburgh, but it became the first professional game when he got paid. NFL players can make upwards of $20 million a year for the best players, some even up near $30 million today. So now that we've gone over the beginning of football and how the rules have gone and changed and how much money can be involved, you can see why it is one of the most watched sports in America. Football is much loved by many people in America and is a big part of our culture today. Football has not always been the same as it is today, but because it is constantly evolving to become safer and more entertaining for the fans and players. That is the main reason that it is currently the highest rated sport in the United States today of all the sports together. Thank you.